When do we want it?
No!
What do we want?
But a £3 billion bailout is exactly what was granted to the hedge fund creditors of Thames Water today.
It's a massive injustice. Thames Water is not just any other company. It can't just go through a restructuring plan like any other company. This is a public utility serving nearly a quarter of the population.
Will this bailout work?
No, well, absolutely not. So they've already got £19 billion of debt. They want to add £3 billion on top of that, as if that's not the most stupid idea anybody can think of. It doesn't need a bailout. What needs to happen to it is what would happen to any other company in this situation. It would go bust.
The agreed £3 billion bailout is in 2 waves. But even before the first £1.4 billion has gone out the door, the hedge funds, their lawyers and bankers will get what the judge described as an eye-watering amount of fees. £443 million will immediately be paid to the new creditors in interest and so-called costs. £245 million goes on existing interest costs, and the ripple of fees has added a whopping £210 million to be paid to the silks and suits on the hedge fund payroll.
It's a complete money go round. You know, these creditors are wanting to maximise the return they can get in this short bit of time before this company finally goes under.
Of the 1.4 billion going in the first chunk, 900 million is going out in interest expenses and advisors' fees. So that's completely outrageous. So little of this is actually going to fix the problem. It's just a fees fest. The company should be put into special administration. That means bankruptcy to you and I, so that we can drop that debt, start getting a balance sheet into proper shape so that we can address the real problems in our sewage network.
But the judge, Mr. Justice Leach, said that while the public interest case was compelling, ultimately he'd sided with creditors on the basis that they'd promised costs wouldn't be passed on, that the law sided with restructuring efforts, and because despite every opportunity, neither the regulator nor the government had opposed the plan. In fact, Justice Leach said,
"There is a public policy in favour of rescuing Thames Water, giving the market a chance to agree a permanent restructuring plan before the government is forced to fund a special administrator."
Well, the risk is that, again, still no investment will go into infrastructure. We need properly upgraded sewage treatment works with tertiary cleaning in order to clean up our river. This river isn't for these bosses' benefit. It's for the benefit of humans and the wildlife that call it home.
Oh, man!
This is what they're fighting for. But up and down the southeast, waterways and rivers have been beset with leaking raw sewage and E. coli breakouts. Campaigners say wildlife is at risk, while those at home have seen their water supply halted or bacteria at unacceptable levels in the taps.
Every time we get rain, we get a sewage spill, don't we?
Absolutely. Yeah.
At one of, well, several sewage treatment works around here. Because it shouldn't be happening.
Well, it shouldn't be happening.
No. Just to be able to immerse ourselves in nature, talk through the problems of the day, the nature that you're seeing, time kind of slows down, doesn't it?
Well, it's very meditative.
But that vision is a far cry from the reality of our rivers. Currently, Thames Water is failing its statutory obligations at 100 of its sites. And the cost of water is a murky subject too. 2.5 million people couldn't afford to pay their water bills last year. And despite nodding the bailout through, the judge highlighted how horrified struggling residents would be that the costs of this deal had risen to such extraordinary levels. Thames Water said today the bailout put the company on firmer financial footing. But campaigners still plan to appeal. That could put strain on attempts to find a new buyer for the company, meaning that despite today's legal victory, the big picture for Britain's biggest water company still remains unclear.